My next guest is someone I actually go way back with. We were classmates together at IDC here at Celia over a decade ago. I remember when BeeHero was just an idea taking shape. What I didn't fully appreciate back then is just how important that idea would become. Today, I'm joined by Itai Kanot, co-founder and CGO at BeeHero, a company using IoT sensors, AI, and machine learning to monitor hundreds of thousands of beehives around the world. And this isn't just an abstract tech idea for me anymore. I recently did a beekeeping course as part of a program for Idea for Service, and I came away completely fascinated. These creatures, honeybees, are extraordinary, and the impact they have in our day-to-day lives is enormous. And what BeeHero is doing for bees, for beekeepers, for farmers, and for humanity is incredible. Itai, I cannot wait to have this conversation. Welcome to Beyond the Code. Welcome to Beyond the Code, the podcast where industry experts and brilliant legal minds discuss the impact of new emerging technologies. I'm your host, Yitzy Hammer, a lawyer and tech enthusiast. Join us as we explore the legal, regulatory, and ethical issues surrounding AI, blockchain, and more. Get ready to go beyond the code and stay ahead of the game. So listen, this episode is going to be all about you. Okay. It's like, we're going to focus on your personal journey, and we're going to focus obviously on what BeeHero is doing, which is incredible.
Thank you.
But in order to set the tone, I need you to tell our audience a little bit about bees. Okay. Because I only very recently discovered what a fascinating creature bees are. And as a second generation commercial bee farmer, you obviously, grew up with this ingrained in you, but I think the majority of the population has no idea how incredible honeybees are. So before we get into you and into BeeHero and everything, I need you to just, in a nutshell, try and excite our audience about honeybees, because when I started to hear some of the facts and actually opened up a beehive and looked at the insanity that was going on inside, I was like, wow, this is the animal for me. And it wouldn't have been my first choice prior to that. So
Right. Yeah. So bees, they are definitely a fascinating creature. Um, I think s- I've opened countless hives over the time I've been beekeeping and to this day. And every time I open a hive to this day, it's exciting to me. It's always a special thing. And I actually try to do it a lot with our clients. Our clients are farmers. They're growers. They depend on bees to produce a good crop. And they've been working with bees for forever. And a lot of them have never opened a hive before. So I use this as a break the ice exercise. With a lot of them, we get together. I put them in a bee suit, and make sure they're all covered up and ready to go. And then we open a hive together. And so it's a really special experience. And I'm happy that you had the opportunity to do that. Um, I would recommend anyone to do that. I think it puts you in a very zen place. Just hearing the buzzing, seeing how the bees are so busy doing what they do, not really caring about you most of the time. I think is really amazing. And there are special times of the year that you can do it. Like if you do it in the winter, you open the hive, you immediately feel the heat coming out of the hive. You smell the smells. It's actually pretty amazing. I think for us as humanity in general, we have a lot to learn from this little creature. We usually think of things from a human perspective, right? So we're so into our individual selves that we think of every bee as an individual, but really a single bee has no meaning in life. Like, she could not survive on her own. She doesn't provide a lot to, to the greater good when you think about it that way.
On an individual basis.
Yes, but when a bee is part of a colony, it's more like, let's say like this, it's like we need to look at a hive and a bee colony more as like a super organism built from multiple different organisms, right? So when we think of bees, really the entity is the colony. It's not the single bee. Single bee, yeah, most people look at a bee and they're like they respect it, but they're also really afraid of it because it can sting. And yes, a sting, it's painful, but it, it, the fear is the worst part. Like the sting itself is just, we
Comes and it goes.
yeah, exactly. My dad has this saying that, when people stings, it hurts a lot more. Um,
True.
and he's definitely right. Um, so yeah, when you look at it as a superorganism and how organized, everything is, how they operate so well, so efficiently, it's absolutely amazing. It's mind blowing. um, their ability to do everything in a, synchronized way, in harmony, really, without even speaking to each other, right? So a bee is going to fly away and find a good resource, for food. It's going to come back, do its little dance, which will point everyone in the right direction, and they'll just go. They'll come back. They'll bring everything back into the hive, make sure everybody is fed. They have a certain hierarchy, right? It's not really hierarchy. It's more like, tenure, right? So a worker bee will change, its role in the hive as it grows, as it gets more tenure, I guess. And it starts with things like, cleaning the hive, taking care of the brood, taking care of the queen, stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. And
But they
then,
have a relatively short lifespan, no?
yeah, they usually between 4 to 6 weeks, and it's common to think, that they essentially work themselves to death. They die because of work.
But they
Um,
also live to work.
yeah, exactly. And so they change their roles, and really they become foragers only at the last stage of their lives. That is going to be the last thing that they do. And it's quite interesting. Also, the fact that all the bees in the colony, all the worker bees, are females. I think a lot of people don't realize that. There's only one queen. She's the mother of everybody in that colony.
And her
The
anatomy is different also. Like
the
she looks
anatomy is
different.
different, but the
She
DNA,
lives for a longer period, right? She lives for like
right, right. The
months
DNA
and months.
is the same, right? Queen's DNA and one of her sisters, right? That is a worker bee, is going to be the same, DNA.
So cool.
And when it's an egg, it can go either way, and it really depends on the diet, in the brood stage. If the queen, if the egg and then the larva and the pupa gets fed, in a, let's just call it a different diet. I don't want to dive too much into the details. Um, it'll turn into a queen. And then if it just gets regular feeding, regular diet, it'll turn into, a worker bee.
So cool.
So yeah, it's pretty amazing. There are drones, which are the male bees. Obviously, you have to have males in order to get mated queens. Um, but the drones, they there are a few hundreds of drones usually in a hive, tens of thousands of worker bees, one queen. The drones, they don't do anything really in the hive.
Like most
Um,
males.
sorry.
Like most males.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Their only purpose in life really is to find a queen that is, by the way, not their queen, because you don't want incest, right? The queen flies faster than the drones, so there's no chance that the drones from the same hive are going to mate with their queen. They're going to find a different queen from a different colony, and their entire purpose is to mate. By the way, the queen, that's another fun fact. The queen mates only once in her lifetime. It's going to be in a period of couple days. She's going to go on a few trips to go out, find males that are up to her standards, mate with them. She will mate with 20-ish males overall. And she is going to then store all of the sperm in a special compartment inside her body, and she's from that point on she's going to fertilize every egg autonomously, right?
Wow.
And she can lay that is a crazy part here. um Maybe I'm just a bee geek, but to me it's crazy. She can lay up to 2,000 eggs a day that
Wow.
weighs combined that they weigh more than her own body weight. And there is
Insane.
really no other example to that in the
In
natural
nature.
world.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. I can go on and on with those things about bees. I think
No, but I think
there's
that's sufficient to set the stage that bees
yeah, yeah,
are
yeah.
amazing. I mean, like,
I
you
would
really
say
could go on because, like, the numbers, like, I don't know, just like from a numbers perspective, like, the amount of bees, the weight, the how much honey they produce, the whole thing is insane.
yeah,
But yeah, we're not going to talk only about bees. I want to get to you, and I want to get to you
absolutely.
quickly. So
I will just say one more thing that I think is important, because I think most people see bees as like the thing that produces honey. And for humanity, honey is really insignificant. Like, we have a lot of other sweeteners that are just as good, or it's to each their own, but they're good enough. Let's say that at least. The
pollination,
Yeah, the
pollination
main thing is
is the real thing,
pollination. That's
right?
that's the real value for humanity, for our survival. That's why they're so important.
Right, and, like, we couldn't get, like, many of our foods if we didn't have bees.
Not in a sustainable, scalable way. No.
Like, anything flower-based, basically, requires
Well,
bees in order for
yeah. So about 75% of all major crops are dependent on bee pollination.
wow,
The calculation usually is that every third bite we eat depends on bees. So things like watermelons, apples, almonds, we were talking about earlier,
blueberries,
blueberries, a lot of things. Even coffee, by the way, is pollinated.
wow.
So a lot of things that we really, really, really like depend on that. And without bees, only the very, very rich are going to be able to afford some of this stuff. Um, Albert Einstein once said that when bees disappeared off the face of the earth, humanity will only have 4 years left
Wow,
to exist. I
wow.
don't think that this is still true today. It probably was true when he said that. I don't think it is still true today, but just to understand the gravitas of this.
Okay, so put bees aside, put pollination aside, we'll
Yep.
get back to that. Who are you?
I'm Itai. I'm just a very simple man. Grew up in a little moshav, a little town in southern Israel. Grew up farming and beekeeping. Obviously, my dad is the largest beekeeper in Israel. So I was really born into this.
What was
With
your earliest exposure to bees, like, that you remember? Like, your first bee memory?
You know what? I think because it was such a big part of my life, it's really hard for me to pinpoint like the earliest memory. I do remember something from being very young. At some point, my dad was trialing with these small styrofoam nooks. This is where you're going to be breeding new
Hmm.
queens, whatever. And they were super colorful. Like every nook had a different color, and it was like bright red and green and blue and yellow and a bunch of different colors. And it was right beside our house. And I remember this because it was an exciting moment where my dad is trying something new and blah blah blah, and it was very colorful. So for me as a kid, it was attractive.
You're attracted.
So so yeah, I remember that. I was definitely very young at the time, like not at the age of working bees yet.
So you're growing up on the farm in Avigdor, right?
Avigdor, yes,
Exposed to bees everywhere.
yeah.
And was this something that you thought that you would like continue doing? Like you assumed that you would continue working on your dad's commercial bee farms?
Um, Not necessarily, at least not in the beginning. Like at first I was working with my dad and I was doing a lot of that because it was convenient. It was interesting. I was very proud of my dad, maybe like any kid, but it's not like my dad was working for a company. It was his own business,
Hmm.
so I had a place in that, you know? And, I remember summer vacations when I was in high school, I would work with my dad and I would get something. So at first, like, I remember I was really into binoculars and I wanted a binocular. My dad said, "Okay, here's a bunch of work for the summer. Finish that. I'll
We'll get you
I'll get you
binoculars.
binoculars." And it happened and I loved it and was amazing. And a lot of my friends, by the way, from the Moshav, from my town, um, also came and worked with me over the summer for my dad and enjoyed similar perks, I would say. Um, and
They all got binoculars.
for my dad, it was really good ROI, right? It's like very, very cheap labor.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, I grew up. I had a really good childhood. I think a lot of nature, a lot of traveling. In bees, by the way, you're outside all the time, and you're moving around all the time. So you're moving the bees based on the seasons. So you're seeing new places um, all the time, which is a lot of fun. But also, my family was really into hiking and camping and doing all of that. uh, like this is the way I grew up, and everybody around us was similar in that way. Um, I
And
don't
when you
know.
say
I would
you're
say, sorry.
when you say you're moving the bees, so like is your end game to produce honey, or is the end game to increase pollination of other crops that you guys have, or that
So
you're providing services to?
right. So I'll be a bit cold. At the end of the day, this is a for-profit business, right? The end goal is to make more money, right? Or as
But it's
much
a
money.
honey business.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's not necessarily a honey business. It's a bee business. There are a few revenue streams with the bee business. Honey
Okay.
is a big one,
Hmm.
definitely. Pollination, when I was younger, wasn't as big. It is bigger today. Some beekeepers, pollination is the major, is like the biggest income source in the U.S. By the way, definitely pollination is the number one income source um, for the majority of commercial beekeepers. In Israel, it will be still honey, but pollination is a big portion of it. And there are other different things depending on what a specific beekeeper is choosing to develop in their operation, their outfit. Um, so so yeah, you're moving the bees because you want them to do well. And we have yards that are best for winter, yards that are best for summer, spring, whatever. So we're moving them around based on seasons, availability of food and resources, and so on.
Okay. Very cool. But you guys do produce, like, I think I read somewhere, like, between 120 to 150 tons of honey a year. It's an insane amount.
Yeah.
It's like, how many hives we talking about?
It's around 4 or 5,000,
Oh,
depend on when.
wow. So
Yeah,
that's a lot
it's
of driving. It's a lot of opening.
we try to keep everything in about a radius of an hour, maybe an hour and a half from home.
Wow.
But yeah, a lot of driving. It's nothing compared to what's going on in places like the US or Australia where we also work today. It's like the mileage is insane. And also like yeah, 5,000 colonies here, it's not nothing, but it's not like a huge commercial beekeeper. In Israel, it's the biggest, but here you have a beekeeper with 100,000 hives, which
Wow.
is which is everything that we have in Israel combined between
Wow,
everyone,
wow, wow.
right? So, yeah.
Okay. So you grew up with exposure to bees. Take me
No,
down where
e ex
we're
ex exposure to the farming world, I wasn't just doing that. I had my own hobbies, was playing some sports, I was doing some other stuff, hanging out with my friends, which is something that I, always loved, being around people, which you don't get to do a lot in bees. It's like you're alone a lot. Um, yeah, so just, I would say normal Israeli childhood, or at least normal for a
for a
moshav,
farmer.
yeah, little town type, childhood. Very, very patriotic, very, like, into I was in, like, whatever, the local Boy Scouts, um, and some other stuff too. Um, Finished high school, went to the military. I was a paratrooper, um, one of the units in the paratroopers. Uh, After my 3 years, I went and traveled the world for
As
quite a
one does.
while. Sorry,
As one does.
as one does for sure. Yeah, I took it to the extreme. I think I did a full year in South America. Came back, worked a little bit, gained some more money, did another 3 months in New Zealand. Also had 3 months in Australia. I've been traveling a lot after my military service. But I was also getting more and more involved with the business. My dad always told me and my two sisters that are younger than me that he has like a minimum requirement if we want to actually join the family business and like take on with that. The minimum requirement is like a bachelor degree because he didn't want us to just come and do this because he didn't want us to choose
You don't want
this.
you to, like, fall
Yeah, he said this was
into
my
the mold.
choice. If it's gonna be your choice, you're more than welcome to it. Like I've built something good here for the family that I would love to pass on, but I don't want you to do it because I did it. So I want you to go explore, get a bachelor degree, do
Smart
other
man, your
things.
dad.
I believe so, yeah. And so um, I went to Reichman University where we met. Um, um, did a bachelor degree in sustainability and economics, and then took another year there with an entrepreneurship program that called IDC Beyond. I think
Mhm.
it went on for maybe 2 years, and then it was stopped. But we were the first year, um, and this is where I actually met my co-founders, um, and where BeeHero kind of started in a way. Um, I started it with Michal Roizman and Guy Kaufman, and then Omer Davidi was still the CEO of the company. Guy left pretty early. He was doing some other stuff. that I don't know if he would like me to say here, or if we should even. And Michal Omer and I, we were looking for another more technological um, partner, and um, somebody connected us with Yuval. We had a few meetings with him. It was basically love at first sight, and we were able to convince him to join us. He did the biggest mistake of his life and joined us. And yeah, um, so yeah, we started working on BeeHero. That was 2017, I think, when we officially started, and we started working in the US um, in late 2018.
So, but
Yeah.
prior to that, when you were doing your economic sustainability degree, was your assumption that you were going to finish school and then just go back to the farm?
No, not necessarily. I mean,
You
this
got
would definitely
the startup bug?
look. I've always done different things. I've been uh, uh, um, initiating stuff. I've tried different things. I had a bit of a different mind, and my dad always told me that if I decide to join him and to take on the business, he said, "You're not going to be like me, like him."
Like you're
He
going to do things
referred to
differently.
Yeah, he referred to himself as like a workhorse, right? Wake up early in the morning, go to bed late at night, and do nothing but hard work in between. And he always said, like, you love the action, like you need changes, you need um um
Constant movement, constant
yeah,
activity,
fast paced,
shifting, different. Yeah.
yeah, fast paced environment. Um, and he said, If you come, we will have to find something additional for you, because this alone is just, you're not going to be able
Again,
to
smart
do
man.
this." Yeah.
Seems like he knew
He knew me
knew what he
better
was
than I
dealing
knew
with.
myself 100%. I think now, a bit older, more experienced, I know a little bit more. But,
Wow. Okay.
but yeah, he was totally right. But then I went into this, entrepreneurship program, and he was very supportive of that. Um, and when we started BeeHero, he definitely supported us in the early days with a lot of knowledge, with a sandbox for all of our experiments and whatever we wanted to do, all the connections. Yes, I grew up in that industry. I knew everybody. I could pick up the phone and call them, but it's different where when you're the son of, or you're the man,
Yeah.
calling.
Yeah.
So my dad helped us a lot in the beginning, and definitely supported me through that. And I think, at least he's telling me, he's very, very proud, and he's happy that, you know he's especially happy that I found something that I wanted to do, and I started my own thing. And it makes him even happier that it's in the same, environment. You
Yeah.
know, so
So let's talk briefly about what that is. So
yeah.
you go into this entrepreneurship program, and like I've been in programs like this. I imagine that they like put you in a room with a bunch of other entrepreneurs, and they're like, you guys like bang your heads against one another until you figure out something cool, and then maybe we'll back it. And then you start thinking, and you're like, I come from the bee world. What can we do? Merging bees and technology. Again, I'm spinballing here. Maybe it didn't go this way. But it seems like that makes kind of a lot of sense. And then what came out is this phenomenal technology, or multiple technologies, where you guys basically um, uh, read the analytics that are put out through the hive, so you could both optimize on the farmer's usage of time and on the production and health of the bees. So again, and correct me if I'm wrong, or just this is from a little bit of reading. So on the one
Yeah.
hand, you're improving the hive health, and on the other hand, and maybe this is a little bit later down the line, you're actually using this to I think what the term you guys use is precision pollination as a service, right? To
Yeah,
increase pollination. So the focus is on one hand on the bees and on the hive, and on the other hand on other crops and how you could use bees to kind of accelerate and perfect the process. Um, I mentioned that I recently did this beekeeping course, a small course
yeah,
as part of like a military reserve program, and it was on this on this farm. Beekeeping was just a very small part of it, but what I thought was so fascinating was how we had these like little hives in each greenhouse with different kinds of bees that were used to increase pollination. And
sure.
um, anyways, so that's where I really like was exposed for the first time to the pollination element. But I just went on this whole jam. I asked you a question and then I gave an answer, which I sure is completely off kilter. So now tell me
No,
where I went
look,
wrong there.
yeah, if I had to, answer that question that you originally asked in 30 seconds, then that would be the exact way I would. But the reality was definitely a bit more complicated than that.
Okay.
Yeah, the entrepreneurship program, yeah, it's pretty much what you described. They were trying to create like a singularity university. We they tried to dive in a few different vectors and like really understand the different issues and where the gaps are, and just feed our minds with a lot of that, and then have us start trying to work in groups, finding different solutions, different problems, working on stuff together. And, this is kind of where it went. I was trying to not really push too hard to bees because I didn't want to. I knew I have a bias, right? Um, and I didn't want to just impose on others at first. And I tried to give some space, and we were talking about some other stuff that we wanted to explore. The idea was of the group of people that we were is to try and find something that we want to do together. Like we knew we wanted to work together. Now it was like what it is we want to do,
Hmm.
and we were talking about a bunch of different things, and one of them was bees. And it was the most interesting to everyone, and actually it was the most, it had the biggest opportunity and the biggest chances of success, um, comparing to everything else that we had in mind at that point. And we started working on it, and definitely didn't have the solution that we have right now in our heads back then. The idea in the beginning was more in the lines of a precision beekeeping, like a service for beekeepers. We sell a service to beekeepers that will make their hives smarter and their ability to operate them just a lot better. Um, but one of the things that we understood is that the closer you get to the final customer, the final client, um, you're swimming in a larger pool of cash, right? Companies that sell directly to the consumer, their potential is a lot bigger than if they sell to the person that sells to the consumer. So the beekeeper is basically the furthest away from the consumer when we're talking about pollination, not honey. Okay.
Hmm.
So moving into the pollination part of it, meaning moving to the grower, you're one step closer to the consumer than when you're just working with the beekeeper. And when we're talking about pollination, we're talking about billions of dollars worth of market, and and it's a really interesting one. It's a really broken market, or it used to be at least.
In the
And
sense that it's hard to like pinpoint like what exactly, you know, I guess it's just like what kind of season do we have? Like, was there more rain, less rain? Like,
Yeah,
What's
it's
broken
not just
about
that,
it?
it's
Uh,
broken in terms of, like, there are no clear processes. People don't really know what it is that they're buying. They don't really know how to even assess the quality of the pollination service that they get,
mhm,
okay? There's no standard. There's no one clear standard of how a contract looks. When do I place the bees? When do I get them out? How good they need to be? What do the beekeeper need to provide? Like, there's really no standard in most of those industries, right? Because
mhm.
pollination is like, it's different when we're talking about blueberries, and it's different when we're talking about almonds. And by the way, if you're talking about blueberries in Washington State, pollination engagement there is different compared to blueberry pollination in Florida, right? So there's so much mess. There's so many different ways that this works, and the market is uh, um, uh, completely broken, really. And so the opportunity was huge, and we were trying to understand, because at that point we were still working on just precision beekeeping, how to make bees better, and we were trying to understand how to transition from this and move into the pollination market and make a difference there. And it took us some time, took some iterations, but we were able to pivot and move from selling to the beekeepers to selling to the growers, but working with the beekeepers. So now beekeepers are our suppliers, right? The beekeeper that works with me still gets the sensors, still gets the app. They can look at it. They're getting like the same stuff that we envisioned originally for the beekeepers. They're still getting, but they don't pay us. Quite the opposite. We actually pay them because they provide pollination services with us, right? So they get a piece of the pie.
So the beekeepers are now your partners,
S-
and you're
Partners,
using.
suppliers.
Yeah, I'm saying, and then the end user is receiving a service indirectly from you.
No, they're getting the service from us. They're in communication with us. They get our dashboard. We make sure that the hives are being placed at the right place at the right time. Sometimes it's actually our own operational people placing the hives. Sometimes it's the beekeeper himself. It depends on the type of situation and deal that we're
It sounds
running
like a
here.
bit of a complex model, though, because you have a lot of moving pieces.
There are a lot of moving pieces. It's not too complex when you kind of understand how things work, but it's maybe a bit similar if you're trying to understand the um, Airbnb model. Okay, you have Airbnb. Okay, it's a big company,
Hmm.
and then you have the homeowner, right? The
No, it's the same
homeowner,
thing, right? Okay, I understand. So the
yeah,
homeowner is the hive owner, and then the guest is the
the grower,
crops owner. Yeah,
yeah. But when you have an issue, who do you talk to?
platform.
Exactly. When you're looking for the solution, who do you talk to? The platform. You don't go directly to the homeowner, because
But I think it's a
directly
bit
with the
different here. Like to what, like Airbnb is not focused so much on I mean, again, I guess maybe they are on the quality of the properties that are listed. They let the market do its own work, whereas
yeah.
presumably you're more involved in the output of the beekeepers.
Yes,
No,
there are many differences, right, between us and Airbnb.
yeah,
Airbnb again is
just
direct to
for the sake of the
consumer.
comparison.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just in order to understand a little bit how the
Hmm.
model works. But yes, we are responsible for the quality. And we use this as one of our selling points. We can always get you the best hives, right? Because when a grower works directly with a beekeeper, if that beekeeper is having a bad year, he's going to send him hives that are not as good. And better hives are better pollinators. Okay, that's
Hmm.
just full stop. Better hives are better pollinators, and with our technology, we're able to always pick and choose the right hives for the job to make this so
Wow.
that you get the worth of your money. So you're paying quite a lot of money. Almond growers, for example, um, pollination is the single largest cost, and it's about a third of their cost per acre,
Wow.
right? And it's the one biggest, payment. So, um, so they have to understand,
Just to get an idea, like what's the cost per acre average?
for almonds,
Yeah, on the B side.
yeah, like the market average would be around $400 an acre
Okay.
ish. Yeah.
And then it's a SaaS model what they're paying you for?
Yeah. Um, SaaS is a software as a service. We're doing pollination as a service.
Yeah, but I'm saying they're paying you like a monthly fee based on like
No,
acres
it's a yearly fee, really.
or whatever, but
Um,
like a fixed
yeah.
fee based on how many acres you're servicing?
So yes, so what they do is they choose. We do things a little differently than the standard that was in pollination before us.
Okay.
Um, and normally, let's stay on almonds just because it's easy. Almond growers would traditionally take 2 hives per acre,
Mhm.
and they want to see 8 frames per hive, 8 frames of
Okay.
bees per hive on average. Okay, so what we're doing is, not every hive is the same. When you look at a hive, you see the box, 2 boxes, they don't have the same thing inside, right? It's like when you have, I don't know, a bunch of trees that came from the same breeder. One tree might not make it very well. Like all the trees are big and growing and they're nice, and one tree in the orchard is just going to be really poor, and at some point you're just going to take it out. And it's the same with hives. Um, and what we're doing is we're going a little bit deeper. We're going into the frames per acre, not hives per acre. So inside a hive, you have frames of bees. In a hive that is going to almond pollination here in California, the potential of number of frames, like the physical number of frames inside that hive, just hardware, is 20 frames. Okay, it can be 18, it can be 16, but let's call it 20, just to simplify stuff. When they say 8 frame hive, they mean that 8 out of these 20 frames are going to be covered with bees. 75% of the frame must be covered with bees to be considered a frame of bees. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm telling you, what I want you to do is not tell me how many hives per acre you want to get, because it doesn't matter. A hive is a unit of measurement that is not accurate enough. I'm going zoom in, and I'm telling you, choose how many frames you actually want. Like really how many frames. Okay, now so now we have a little algorithm that is able to determine what is the best situation, or what is the best um what
Combination
would
of output, whatever.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then we offer them, okay, we think according to our calculations you need to have 14 frames of bees.
Mhm.
And then they decide if they actually want the 14 frames per acre, or they want to go up, or they want to go down, up to the grower.
But your KPIs are based on what's coming out of the hive or what's happening in the field?
In front of the grower.
Yeah.
In front of the grower, I need to provide the amount of frames that they ordered. Okay, they ordered a certain amount of frames, so they want to see that that amount of frames actually exists in every one of their acres, and they want them to come from really, really good hives. Because I can bring 14 frames of bees from, 2 hives that are 7 frames of bees each. I can bring it with one hive of 14 frames, or I can bring it with 14 hives with one frame of bees, right? There's a big difference in the pollination output that these hives are going to be able to provide. So 14 hives of one frame are actually not going to do anything for the grower. They are going to die within a week. Okay, this is it's non-viable. It's nothing. Okay,
Hmm.
and if I get them a hive of 14 frames, then this is a bummer of a hive. Like this is not a bummer, like a bomb
Like like
of like
bonanza.
an amazing, yeah, bonanza, like an amazing hive. 14 frames of bees in the beginning of February is like wow. And this hive is going to work. This hive is going to pollinate. This hive is going to 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 um to make sure that grower um um
Produces well
is realizing the full potential
of his crop.
of the bloom that
Hmm.
year. Okay, so this is where I'm going to be measured when it comes to the grower. They want to see that I'm actually delivering 14 frames, and they want to see that I'm actually delivering them by providing really great hives and not a bunch of dinks. Okay, that's where the grower is going to measure me. And then there are other things that are different with BeeHero compared to a traditional pollination provider. They get a dashboard. They can see what's going on 24/7. Normally, a grower doesn't have any understanding of what's going on. They might be able to bring like a third-party inspector that is going to look into 10% of the hives that are on the orchard. So let's say if you have 400 hives, you're going to look into 40.
But this is a
And
pollination dashboard, right? It's not the same as it's not the same dashboard that the beekeeper is seeing, right? You
it's
have
yeah,
like
it's
one in the
different.
field and one in the hive.
Yeah, obviously it's based on the same data that we're collecting, right? There's nothing different here or there in terms of the data. Or like I'm talking about the raw data that feeds it. But yeah, the grower sees metrics that are interesting to him. The beekeeper sees different metrics, but they definitely align in some way. So the moment the hives are being placed in the field, the dashboard opens up for the grower and they can see all that information. And we also provide a lot of information about weather and some other stuff
Hmm.
because it affects everything, right? If there's a rainy day, the bees are not going to be out. Okay. And the grower needs to know about that. So a lot of those things are all of a sudden visible 24/7. There's full
Very cool.
visibility, full transparency, which brings a lot of accountability as well. When the beekeeper knows that they place the bees and they go home and nobody looks at them, he can put whatever he wants in there, right? But when beekeepers know that they
That
have
their customers are looking constantly at the output of these things, then
yeah.
they need to make sure that they're doing more than just placing and leaving.
Exactly. And it's on us to identify the hives prior to pollination, make sure that what goes on the truck is already really good, and the client is going to be really happy. Is going to not only re-sign for next year, is going to grow with us, right? If he did only 30% of his business this year, next year is going to do 60, and the year following that, we're going to go 100 full rollout, and everybody's going to
Tough
be happy.
market. How have you found farmers as customers? Like, are they, I mean, this is probably like a whole new thing for them. I imagine that 10, 15, 20 years ago, farmers weren't accustomed to working with
Yeah.
software.
Yeah, look, it's a very tough market. Still very based on personal relationships. When we started, we were like, okay, this is the new age. We're gonna do everything low touch, emails, notifications, push notifications. We don't need to talk to them. Blah 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 blah. We learned that we were wrong. The hard way. Um, and we're definitely far from being low touch. We're increasing the intensity of how much we communicate with our growers and meet them in person, shake their hands, show them we're out there with them, show them we also drive an F-150 truck. It's important to them. It
Yeah,
really is.
yeah.
I had a personal experience going, to visit a grower, and I came out my daily driver is an F-150, and they said, "You know how I know, that you know what you're talking about? Every other Silicon Valley startup that comes down here comes in like a Prius or a Tesla, and I know immediately I'm wasting my time with them. But you're driving that, I know you know what you're talking about." And, and it's true. They really do look at those things, and they appreciate that, and when you have actual experience out in the field, they feel it, and they connect to it, and it works well. Um, there's not a lot of room for mistakes. People that are, more, you people that are used to working with software and different technologies and stuff like that, they're usually a bit more forgiving. With growers, it's not as forgiving. Like, you need to be very good at what you do, um, because if you stepped on someone's nerve, and that's it. You're
Yeah, and
out of
also,
there,
like,
and
you're teaching
there's
them,
no.
like, you're educating the market, so, like,
Yeah,
if you're asking somebody, "Try something completely different," and you F up, then they're like, "That's it, I'm done, man, I'm not gonna try this a second time."
100%. And I think another big barrier is that over the years, the ag tech industry, uh, did let the agriculture industry down quite a bit. A lot of growers are really tired, listening to ag tech companies promising different things, because a lot of ag tech companies came in with big promises that they were not
Under-delivered.
able to deliver, and growers spend time and money on things that didn't come to fruition, and they don't want to do it again. So, they don't have the patience anymore as much as they used to, and we see that because we've been around here since, beginning of 2019, and things are different. It's it is harder now because growers, they got burned from ag tech. So it's not even about you and what you offer. It's just, uh, I've tried this other thing that is completely not related to what you're doing, but it also had the title of ag tech. So I don't want to do it ever again. Um, so you have to kind of walk the line, and th- really thread the needle, understand, and learn how to deal with different personalities, and first identify what personalities you're dealing with, so you can kind of adjust to it. Um, so yeah, it's really interesting. But overall, what I've learned is that it's not so different than any other industry. It's like, yes, this is more important here, and something else is more important in another industry. But it's like, it's not like if you're moving from whatever, fintech company to agtech, it's not like you'll see things that are completely different, that are just not
Right.
recognizable to you. You know, it's going to be recognizable. It's just going to be slightly different.
Yeah, but presumably you wouldn't have been able to sell the tech side if you didn't have the farmer background as well. I mean, you mentioned
Yeah,
that with your F-150 story.
yeah, it would definitely would impede our ability to
Yeah,
to progress, and potentially, yeah, potentially wouldn't be. Look, if you don't have like the knowledge, I don't think you can reach. Um, I don't think you can reach the levels of understanding to build the product in a way that fits the market, really.
yeah.
Um,
No,
yeah,
I could totally relate. I say that often, like, the I do the podcast, like, as a passion project. I enjoy speaking to entrepreneurs in the emerging tech space, but, my day job is as a crypto lawyer. So crypto is, like, a very niche sector as well, and I'm always, telling competitors that, like, you can't preach these things without really understanding them. Like, you need to really get in the deep of the technologies themselves to be able to work with clients on products that are, like, very complex, especially from a legal and regulatory perspective. And
yeah,
I had a similar story to your F-150 story when when I left Big Law, my partner, I went to first meeting with my partner who had been out already for a year, and I took like my clunky Dell laptop with me, and he's like, "Dude, go get yourself a MacBook. Like if you're sitting across from a client and you're like sitting with this clunky Windows computer, they're not going to talk to you. You got to show them that you speak their language."
Yeah.
So I never went back.
Yeah,
Um,
especially where you're in the US, if you don't have a Mac and an iPhone, it's like, what are you even doing?
yeah, I went to a conference early on in the States, and I came back and I bought myself a pair of Jordan 1 sneakers and like ripped jeans and an iPhone. And my wife's like, "What the heck happened to you, man? You've been gone for a week and you're like came back completely transformed."
I
Um,
did wanna say I've listened to a few of your, episodes, and I've heard a lot about, crypto, and, and I was thinking we can probably talk, one day about, tokenizing bees or pollination events of every bee. With our technology and blockchain, this can be interesting one
it can be
day.
dangerous.
For sure.
We'll get there, but I want to ask you about some of the challenges that bees have been facing. I read recently that like 2024, 2025, and initially I thought this had to do with the fires in California, but I think it's other things as well because it's across the North America. Bees experience like their biggest decline in the last like 40 years,
Yeah,
something like 60% decline.
yeah.
Is this something that you guys are like actively tackling? Presumably from a marketing perspective, like people probably need your product more than ever. And like how like, are you concerned about this from a global perspective
Yeah,
as a beekeeper?
yeah. Look, yes and no. It's
Okay.
yeah, yes, there is a problem, okay? The no comes from the fact I've seen this industry overcome this problem in the past, right? Or not really, it's not overcome, but learned how to live with it, right? So it wasn't solved. Um, the varroa mites, started a couple decades ago at this point. Everybody thought this was the end of beekeeping, right? Everybody was screaming from the roofs, and it wasn't, right? Yeah, some beekeepers lost their outfit. You know, the older guys may have chosen to retire because they don't want to learn new skills. But beekeeping is alive and well. You know, it's kicking. There are definitely a lot of issues. And last year, what you're talking about coming out of the winter of 24, 25, it was very bad. It was a lot worse than what we've seen in the past, 60%, but the normal here is very high. You might be surprised to hear that it's around 45% in a normal year, right? So,
Well, 45% in a normal
mortality
year
rates,
mortality rate. Wow.
yeah. And naturally, what you would expect in a year, would be around 10, 12%. Good
So it's
beekeepers
a
might
North
be around
American
7.
problem? Like you don't have varroa mites
No,
outside of the US?
no, 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 you do. You definitely do. Australia was one of the last, sanctuaries of for bees, but, they got it too, maybe, think 3 years ago.
And is
Um,
that something you could detect through your
yeah,
dashboard? Like you say like, "Oh,
it
you have varroa mites?"
on the dashboard, this is something we're still working on. Right now, you cannot detect it, but it actually doesn't really matter because the assumption is that all of your hives have varroa, like, by
Wow.
definition. It's just, can you control, the infestation levels? And, the problem with varroa, so quickly about varroa, it's, think of a tick, okay?
Mhm.
But if you compare the size of it, it would be like you had a tick the size of a basketball, okay?
For the bee.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And the problem with varroa, yes, it's very like it sucks the life out of the bee, but the biggest problem is that it's a vector for different viruses and diseases, right? So when there's a lot of raw, there's a lot of viruses. The virus load inside the hive rocketing. And that is the biggest issue. And that was the biggest issue last year. There was a lot of research done afterwards to try and understand what had happened. And what they found is just really high virus loads and really poor varroa management. So the assumption is that there's a little bit of what's called resistance that the varroa is developing. And the treatments essentially that beekeepers are using are becoming less effective in really
Amateurs?
treating. Amateurs is not Amateurs has been banned in the US,
Really?
a while ago. Well, there is one product that it's very, very low, um,
Toxicity?
concentration of amateurs
Mhm.
that is allowed, but beekeepers don't use it because it's not effective. Allegedly, the entire industry almost in the US, gets, tactic from across the border, south border, and they treat it this way because they don't really have any effective way other than that. Um, I'm saying allegedly, because I gotta, but everybody knows this. It's not really a secret. Um, but there is no approved way to to do it, and I understand all those beekeepers. I mean, there's no
You gotta look after your goods.
you got to keep them alive.
Yeah.
There's no other way.
Wow.
Um, and yeah, so obviously there are a few companies trying to work on different solutions. I don't know of anything that is very effective yet. Beekeepers in the US treat for varroa maybe 15 times a year, which is a lot. Like in Israel, they treat maybe 3, 4 times a year. So it's very different, the intensity levels. Um, and yeah, they combine different treatments. So yes, there's the tactic that some beekeepers may be using, and there are some natural treatments like formic acid and that are effective to a degree for controlling varroa. And see how I'm saying controlling varroa because
Because you
it's
can't
not.
dissipate it entirely.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
We used to have a treatment many, many years ago that was like it was killing it completely, but it's not approved for use anymore for good reasons. Um, and yeah, also the varroa, it's like cockroaches a little bit. They develop resistancy to the treatments in a pretty good way. The problem compared
So
to
it's hopeless, basically.
don't say that, but yes.
Well, at least people will
Yeah,
know.
look, there are some interesting ways that on paper can be very effective. Is just it hasn't come to fruition yet.
Alright.
But so what I started saying, and the way we got into this is that the reason I am hopeful is because I've seen beekeepers over the last 2 decades essentially dealing with it and making it work. Right. So even though this is concerning, what happened last year, this year we haven't seen the same devastation. Um, and we don't really know what's going to happen in the near future or the longer for sure. I did order my crystal ball on Amazon, waiting for it to arrive. I'll let you know.
Alright. Well, so tell me, what BeeHero is working on now. Like, we have this platform. I doubt many farmers are listening to us, but what are you guys mainly focused on? Is it growing your customer base? Are you looking for more beekeepers? Are you looking for more crop growers? Are you guys looking to expand outside of North America? Are you raising funds? Are you hiring new
Yeah.
employees? Where are you guys at?
So we're already out of North America. Our biggest market is still the US, but we're also working in Australia for the last 3 years, um, um, which is a great, great, great market. Um, we're starting now working in Peru. So this is going to be our first official year working there. We did some stuff yet last year, but
Wow,
this year is going to be
cool.
our first big year there. Peru is mainly blueberries and avocados. So if you like them, thumbs up. Um,
Blueberries are my family's all-time favorite. Like
really,
we never had blueberries in Israel until like I don't know 8 9 years ago, and it was like
right?
it was the thing I miss most from home. Growing up with blueberries in everything, and it's been a complete game changer. So we get through blueberries like nobody's business. And I know you recently became like a board member for the North American
Yeah,
Blueberry Council.
yeah.
Not really sure what that means, but I guess it means that you eat a lot of blueberries. So I'm
Right,
jealous.
right. The more blueberries you eat, the better your chances are to get into the board. But yeah, by the way, my cousin in Israel is a blueberry grower, so maybe you're getting some of his when you
Dude,
buy.
I ordered every single type of blueberry seed on AliExpress.
Yeah,
Okay, because like they weren't selling them at any of the nurseries here, and
yeah,
I tried so many different things to make them grow. I couldn't even get like a little blossom to come out.
yeah.
So I would love to go
I'll connect you with
and
my
eat your
cousin. Maybe
cousin.
he'll share some of his secrets. Um,
Very cool.
yeah.
So what are you guys working on in the
So yeah,
macro sense?
look, expansion is always a thing. We're looking into more and more clients. This is always something that we want to do. Um, um, and we have another product that it's not super commercial yet, but we're getting there. We call it PIP. It's a pollination insight platform. It's actually very, very interesting, and the potential there is insane. I don't think we really understand the full potential of it yet. But essentially, what we're able to do is place sensors out in the field and monitor actual pollinator activity on the flowers, so we can
Cool.
count how many times bees or other pollinators visited a flower or a bunch of flowers, whatever, and create dashboards around that. And that is a standalone product, but when they work together, like our pollination as a service and the insight platform, when they work together, is just it's
That's
mind
awesome.
boggling. So these two things, and we're dipping our toes in um, some new endeavors that I think are super exciting, and I really want to tell you more about it. But maybe next time we talk.
Okay. I really appreciate your time. I know it's late there. It's like what 11 p.m. Your
Right now
time.
it's 12. It's
12.
midnight.
Okay,
Yeah,
midnight. So
just
I'm gonna let you go. I got one more question for you.
yep. Go ahead.
Tell me about your family. I know that you mentioned that you were are an Israeli patriot, and I know I guess the majority of your family is here in Israel. What's it like raising four kids in
Your kids.
California, very far away, both time zone wise and geographically from your family?
It's very hard. It is very hard. I this look. We came here for a year, 7 years ago. Um, and so yeah, it's been a very long year. Um, it's really hard being away from the family. Uh, on one hand, on the other hand, the fact that we're here alone really builds up the nucleus family, because it's just us. It's my wife and I, and our four awesome kids. My daughter was born in Israel, and when we moved here, my wife was pregnant with our second son. We just had our fourth kid 5
Wow.
months ago. And we also have a dog that came with us from Israel, and now we also have 2 bunnies and a tortoise, sorry. Um, so yeah, it's difficult, especially it's been difficult in the last 3 years, right? With everything that happened.
Hmm.
It's been difficult in many, many levels, like, you know, uh, all my guys from reserves, uh, all you know, the that went
Experiencing things.
into Gaza, yeah, did a lot of different things, and I can't be there with them. Um, and from here, it always everything looks worse in the media, right? And only when I come to Israel, I was like, oh, it's not that bad. It's like, and I visited a lot during that time, even with the family, but it's been difficult since October 7th of 2023. It's been very difficult. Before that, we had COVID.
Yeah.
So
Not
that
fun.
that was also weird. But we were flying. We were going to Israel. It was fun because you're the only one in the airplane. They take you all the way, and you're in there on your own. Um, but we're trying to make it work. So mornings here, our evenings back home, and the other way around. Um, my parents come here at least twice a year. We try to go to Israel at least once a year. Last year was during the 12-day war with Iran, so my kids got to experience that, which was fun. Um, so yeah, I don't know. It's super difficult. It's like the thing we talk about literally every day, and I think about probably every other minute of the
Wow.
day. Because it's
Well,
getting to a point that we're like, "Okay, we've been here for 7 years. We kinda need to start thinking about what's next." BeeHero is at a point where soon it's not going to really need me here all the time. Right now, it still does, but almost doesn't. So at some point, we'll kinda have to decide what we're doing next. And, yeah, it's difficult. It's a difficult question. Both of us, we do wanna go back, but also, like, our
yeah.
kids have their
Not
life
not easy.
here.
Thanks
Yeah,
for being so candid.
yeah,
You guys speak Hebrew at home with the kids?
definitely.
Okay, so they'll have an easy transition
And they
when
go
you come
to,
back eventually.
Chabad every day for after school, so they learn Hebrew there too, and yeah.
Wow. Itai, thank you so much
Thank
for
you for the
your
opportunity.
time so late at night and for sharing your story. It's really, really, really cool what you guys are building.
Thank you.
From like an altruistic perspective as well. Like you guys are really saving the planet.
We like to
So
think that.
keep it up, man.
Thank you, and, I know this is very different for your podcast, but, I'm hoping
I like
your
different.
audience is going to like it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't not love bees and you can't not love you. So um, thanks,
Keep
Itai.
going. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Beyond the Code. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe, share with your friends, and to tune in again next week for more fun and insightful conversation.